Hi, everyone. Welcome. Happy New Year's. I hope you had a great time last night, and I hope you're having a great new year. We had an interesting week that I lost 1.2 pounds. The scale was all over the place again. I went down to that 3-pound loss that I said I didn't think was real. It went up, it went down again, and then we rested on 1.2 pounds today. Crazy, crazy week. But here was the interesting thing. I tried an experiment. I wanted to see if I ate a low calorie diet and I did it every day for the entire week. So what I started out with is cottage cheese and pear, chicken nuggets, which was from Costco, either the Kirkland or the Bear. Then for dinner, I had the eggs and keto toast with a little Brummel and Brown. Comes out to somewhere around 820 calories. Every day I ate the same thing. Every day I drank the same amount of liquid and I did the same amount of exercise. Maybe I ate things in a different order, but it was always those food groups. And the weight was crazy. It was up and down, and that is the way weight is. I just sort of wanted to prove to myself and maybe to you all that diet is not a pure 100% thing. That if you stick to the same diet, if you ate the same thing every day, that your weight would just do this or do that. And it just doesn't. The body is much more complex than that. There's all sorts of things involved in what makes up what we weigh. But overall, it was a good week, and I did lose 1.2 pounds after having a good week last week. I am now pretty darn close to 40 pounds of weight loss, which again, I spent 50 weeks of last year losing 6 pounds, and now I've spent about 6 months losing 40 pounds. It's all good, and this drug is amazing for all the people out there, and they make me crazy, who say, just stop eating. Just go on a diet. Quit stuffing your face full of food. You know what? I never did. I was never that person who ate cakes. I was never that person who overate in any sort of drastic way. You know, maybe once in a while, about once a month, I go out to eat with my friends. And then probably I ate too much. But it wasn't that many pounds worth of food. The math never equaled what I ate before. And I exercise, I weightlift, I do cardio. I'm active in the summertime and I go out hiking quite a bit. It just didn't add up in the math. And so all the people who are just dissing this drug and saying, if you just would stop eating, if you would just do this, if you just do that, they don't know what they're talking about. I'm sorry, you don't. This is a hormonal problem. And we'll talk about metabolic syndrome coming up in a few episodes. But today I wanted to talk about how New Year's is such a weird time. You know, everyone starts off their habits. I remember when I belonged to a regular gym, it's always two sides. Either it was me saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to go to the gym, and I'd be so active, and I would go and I would try it out and eventually fail. Or it was, I was doing it. I was being active, and then everybody was at the gym and I couldn't get on any machine. It made me try other machines that I never tried before. And everyone tries really hard at the beginning of the year to do this, to get their goals, to get their dreams. They write up goals for the year. And a couple of things that I have done. I stopped writing up goals for my year, and I started doing a couple of other things. There was a book I read that was called The One Word. And the idea behind this was that you pick one word that is going to be your theme for this year. And so last year, my theme was, every time I thought about it, I would say health. Should I starve myself on Mounjaro? Health. No, you should not. Should I skip having this cottage cheese because I really don't feel like it? No. Cottage cheese has calcium. It has high protein. It's low in calories. No. Eat the cottage cheese. Every time I had that question in my mind, what I should do, A or B, the answer was going to always be health. It doesn't mean I did it every meal, and it doesn't mean that I always made the right choice. It didn't mean that I always did the right thing, but I always tried to answer that question, and it was true that I improved my health. I upped my exercise. I became more consistent. I certainly, with Mounjaro, fixed my diet. I told my friend that it makes you feel like you're not missing out on something. I think food back into its proper perspective in your life as a nutrition, as something that's enjoyable, but not something that is taking over your life or making you crave things. And so while I didn't eat many things over the holiday season, it also, I think this drug makes you not care that much about it. But the one word book is kind of good. I liked doing it. And in the past, I had a one word, and then somewhere in the middle of the year, I decided I was going to get a new job. And so the one word that I had, which was consistency, because I do a good job of things, I'm just inconsistent, changed to get a new job. I know that's not one word, but that became my single focus of the year. Everything had to focus on me getting this new job. Then when that was over with, then I could look at it again. So picking a one word theme, I think, is very helpful to you. If you're someone who's brusque with people, could your one word be compassionate? If you are too much of a pushover, you get pushed around by other people, could assertiveness be your one word? Something like that. Whatever it is that you're supposed to focus on. To me, the idea is that whenever you have a question in your mind, this one word is the piece of it. What is the one thing that you have to fix more than anything else? There was a funny piece in the movie LA Story where she would go and get dressed for a night out, and then she would turn around and look in the mirror, and the first thing that stood out to her in her outfit, she would remove because it was too flashy. And I thought, it's kind of a good way of looking at this one word thing too, that what is the one thing that if you were suddenly to turn around and look in the mirror and you'd say, oh, that's the one thing I really need to focus on. Maybe you're just too much of a homebody and getting outside is the most important thing. Or you say no too often to friends, to people who ask you to do something. So maybe yes is the right answer. So think about that a little bit too, instead of having goals, having this one word theme. I have 3 things that I'm trying to work on. The one thing that I want to work on for the year, which could be my one word, something for the month that I really need to get done this month, and something for the week I really need to get done for the week. You can even bring it down to a day. I do that for work. So every day when I get into work, I think, what is the one thing I need to get done? Really need to get this done today. At the end of this week, what would be the one thing I'd be disappointed if I found I didn't get done in this week? And so I do it for work, and then I have another list for home. And so basically at any time, I only really have 4 things on my goals to-do list. I have like to-do lists like take out the trash and do the recycling and, everything like that. But I only have 4 things that when it comes to those goals. And the next step is that once you have these goals, you have to break them down into small steps. I have the Start with Small Steps podcast. That's my thing. But if you decide that you want to get into enough shape that you could walk around Rome for a week vacation, or you could go to Cancun and go surfing. I don't know if people surf in Cancun, but you know what I mean? You have a goal and you want to do that. It doesn't help if you just decide I'm going to go surfing in Cancun if you don't do the small steps along the way. So the other tactic that you can take when it comes to New Year's goals is to set up a goal, figure out what it is you want to do, and then break it down into smaller parts. And so you'll write that one piece down, and then, well, what will it take for me to go surfing in Cancun? Well, the first thing I need to do is get enough money to pay for a trip from Cancun. Okay, so I'm going to set aside $500 every paycheck. It sounds a lot, but to pay for this trip. And then I'm going to research which hotel I want to stay at, where do I want to go surfing, that kind of thing. Then you break it down into smaller steps. Well, I have to, first of all, get into shape to go surfing. Surfing does require a certain level of fitness in there. What does it take to do? Now, when I went surfing, I found out that surfing is like doing a push-up, a lunge, a squat, and you need a lot of balance. Okay, so now I know that 4 things I have to do. So I'm going to work on my lower body and my upper body strength because I know that surfing is going to require it of me. So then you break that even down to a further week. So every week I'm going to lift weights 3 times a week that will work on those body parts. You probably need a strong core too. But by breaking these bigger goals down into actionable tiny goals, eventually so tiny that they're hard to avoid. For this one day, can I spend 10 minutes working on these 4 body parts and just do some body weight exercises just for 10, 15 minutes a day? Can I do that all the way to the point where next November I will go on a trip to Cancun and I'll go surfing? It will make all of your goals come true. And so part of the problem I think we have when we have New Year's goals is the fact that we come up with some very big goal. We decide we want to do this big goal, and then we have no intermediate steps in the way. So I want to save $1,000 so that I can buy a new TV by the end of the year, by Black Friday next year. And then we don't do anything about it. We forget about it. We don't realize that if you wanted to save $1,000 by next Black Friday, I need to save $100 every month or $25 every week. And maybe that's the amount of money I spend going to get coffee every day, something like that. Now we have an action plan in place, but it's those incremental small steps that will get you to your big goals when you want them. So those are my 2 tactics I take when it comes to New Year's. I'm someone who believes in God, and so I make sure that my prayer, my communication with God aligns with those goals too, that I'm always keeping in mind how He wants me to live my life. And so my prayers and my goals and my life plan always sort of aligns together with those things. I hope that helps a little bit. I hope that you are enjoying these videos. Please remember that you should subscribe. Tell a friend. You can always email me at jill@startwithsmallsteps.com. Next Monday, which will be January 6th, I am starting a podcast that I do called The Bible in Small Steps, where I go over a chapter a day. And I will start that on YouTube next Monday. So we're going to start over with Matthew 1, go through the whole entire New Testament, and then start with the Old Testament. I hope you join me there too. If there's anything I could do or any topics you'd like me to cover, please let me know. I hope that this new year brings you everything that you're hoping to get. And I'm hoping, like for me too, that Mounjaro is a step towards getting your goals. My goals don't end in this weight loss, which hopefully in this year I will achieve my goal weight. I will be at a weight I haven't been since I was probably 10 years old. That's my goal. But it doesn't stop there. There are goals built on top of that, namely having an active life, doing adventures outside. I hope you get there too, whatever it is you're looking at. Please have a wonderful year.